Hello. So, please forgive the roots. They're getting fixed tomorrow. So, I decided I'm going live tonight. Tonight we're going to try something new. I've got a different angle, a different setup, hoping this works a little bit better. But I am going to be doing a patriotic grapevine. I'm kind of very patriotic-y lately, mostly because that's the bin of stuff that I just hauled out. So, I'm trying to use what I've got. So, I have an oval-shaped grapevine that I'm going to be working on tonight. Now, this one I got from Decor Exchange. They are my favorite source to get good quality grapevines. And then I have this star grapevine. Now, I got this at the Craig Bachman warehouse sale, but you can find shapes like this at places like Craft Outlet, etc. online. Okay, this is not bought at the local craft store. This is something I had to order. All right, but what we're going to do is we're going to attach a grapevine shape onto a grapevine. And then we're going to decorate this baby, right? So this should be pretty cool, all right? And then I'm going to I've got an assortment of different flowers. I got these roses from Hobby Lobby. And I have these beauties that I bought from General Wholesale. Was this General Wholesale? I think this was. But I have several of these, so I'm going to see how many I want to put in here. But my whole goal, because I have, I think 5 or 6 of these, I want to try to make this a multiple because that seems to be what Etsy is pushing lately, as my sweet friend Liz has been coaching and driving into me, which she's absolutely right. It's multiples is the key. So I'm going to try to be doing that. And then I have 2 different ribbons, but you see this one, they both have a different background here. So I'm going to use the same pattern, but I'm going to flip it around and use a little bit different. So we're going to see what we're going to do with those. All right, so the first thing I want to do here, though, is get my ribbons over there. I want to be able to attach this to here. So how I'm going to do that is by using floral wire. So I'm taking my floral wire. This is really weird for me to be showing a different angle, so I apologize. All right, but I'm gonna snip off the little hanger because we're not going to need that. All right, this can actually. I can probably just slide it off. Because then maybe I'm a hoarder, I'll save this for something else. I know, crazy, right? I save everything. Crazy. But I'm going to wire this on in multiple places. So I'm going to probably do like one here and one here. And then maybe even probably one here on the tip so that it doesn't get wonky and go like that. I want to kind of be able to hold that in there. Okay? So, start there, and do a little bit there. Now I'm probably going there. All right, I know I'm going to do. So I like to cut way more wire than I'm going to use, just because I don't want to have to be searching for it. But the whole thing is to try to find spots in here. So this fabric is glued on. Sometimes you can find little holes where it's not quite glued. You can sneak it through. Otherwise, sometimes you can just puncture it if you need to. So what I want to do is figure out first on my shape, how do I want it? I don't want it super low. Kind of want it here. I don't want to cover too much of it. So I think I'm going to go with something kind of like this. But I know I want that tip to kind of be held in there a little bit. Because that's kind of be where my bow goes on that side. So let me start off by trying to get this. Oh, perfect. Now, because this has sprayed glitter on here, I don't think I'm going to be able to drive it through. I think I'm just going to have to go around. I'm just going to have to wrap it around. So I got it through, so I'm just going to twist it. You're not going to see it. It blends really, really well, and I'm going to have florals on here anyway, so you're not going to see that. Okay, but then I do twist this just to make sure I've got a nice, good, tight piece on there. My back is really killing me today, so I apologize if I end up having to sit. All right. Now this next piece, that's going to be attached there. This next one I think I'm going to try to do it like down on this bottom of the inside. So sometimes there's already wire that's kind of woven in here. If you can kind of follow that same sort of path, then it makes the wire a little less obvious. So here we go. I'm just gonna go like this. Okay. All right, wrap it twice. There we go. And then I'm going to put one piece down at the tip. Just because I don't want it to be wobbly on there, I'm kind of doing this mainly just to kind of ensure that it's totally secure. Now this is, okay, whatever Facebook change made, it finally, I can actually see the comments the whole time now. It doesn't disappear on me anymore. Yay! Yay, Facebook! Finally, a change I can get behind. All right. And with this is kind of a, this isn't a really tight weave fabric, so I can literally just pierce the fabric with the wire. All right, I'm just gonna twist and twist. All right, now I'm gonna attach it here. Once I get it attached, I'll put it up on the easel, but I like to do this when it's down on the ground. All right, so I'm gonna attach this piece first. I'm gonna put the tip in, just the tip, guys. Giggity. All right, trying to weave this wire in through the grapevine. Now, fortunately, this grapevine isn't super densely packed, which may or may not be a good thing, right? Depending on what I'm trying to attach in there later. But I can literally just go right around this thing, pulling it in. So the wires are just going right over the grapevine. And I'm just going to pull to get a really, really tight fit, and then I'm just going to twist, okay? I'm going to twist that so I get a good couple of inches. There we go. So what are you guys up to tonight? Anything fun? I mean, other than watching this. There's like no more really good TV shows on anymore, so Wednesday nights used to be like my good TV night. Not anymore. So that's why I'm going live Wednesday nights. Okay, now I'm going to try to put the bottom one on. So hopefully you guys can see here. Try to pierce this back through here. There we go. It's really fun to add these grapevine shapes onto another grapevine. I really hadn't done it up until actually just a couple weeks ago. But I think it looks really cool. I like it, as long as it's not too huge. I have this really cool shape. It's a Patriotic ice cream cone, but I mean it's huge. Like that's gonna be way too big to go on a grapevine. I mean, I could put it on a super long swag, but I think I might make that one because it's probably like almost 3 feet long. I might make that one just as one that would be a door hanger by itself. I think that would be kind of cool. All right, so I've wrapped this. Just gonna push that in. Hello. Sorry you don't see my face this time, but I want you guys to be able to see how I do this, so I need you kind of like to have these standing behind me point of view, okay? All right, and then now I'm going to go attach the top up and over here. Okay, putting that through there. Oh, that didn't go well. My wire wasn't straight, so it came out all wonky. So I'm trying to put the wire through straight, so it just comes right out the back. All right. And the same for this one. There we go. This was not bad. This was kind of nice and easy. And these are very clean grapevines too. That's why I like the grapevines from Decor Exchange, because they always come very clean. I very rarely have had to clean leaves and stuff out of here, so it's always nice when it doesn't make an extra big mess. I make a big enough mess of my own. All right, clean this up a little bit just because I can't work with mess. So scrape that into the garbage can. All right. At first I was like, I put it upside down. No, I didn't. There we go. There we go. So right now, it does kind of tend to go like this because we don't have any weight over here. We're going to be adding weight over here on the other side. So we'll be able to handle that. So the first thing I want to do is just add just a little bit of greenery. Okay, so my bow's going to go here, greenery down here, greenery down here. This is kind of going to be where I stop because I don't want to cover any of this. All right, and I don't want to cover this either. So I'm trying to keep kind of here and there, right? So I'm going to take my greenery leaves here. Ugh. Cut that one off. Darn it. Alright. I've got my glue gun on the other side. That's mainly why I moved how you guys see me, is because of how my glue gun was. There we go. So I'm push that in because I really don't want to cover the tip too much, right? Just a little bit up there. All right. I think I grabbed 3 of these branches. One of them had just a little bit on there, so it's not like a whole piece. So I guess I'm kind of working with like 2.5. I can grab more. I got this off of Amazon. I was a little skeptical at first because, you know, how good can Amazon florals be? But you know what? They're pretty good. I like these. They're not bad. They're not bad. Okay. See if I can put this little tiny piece in somewhere. Nah, that ain't fitting. Get in there, get in there. All right. I'm gonna add a little glue on there. That's why I like the glue gun. I can get into spots where I want to get into. All right. There we go. Let me bend this a little bit. Now this has a little bit of a wire in there, which is nice. Okay, so I'm going to have a bow here. I don't really need to add too much greenery, but just enough to kind of give it a base. I want to go a little bit more up in the top. Okay, it's coming right up here. Add a little bit. Make it a little more full. Ow. Again, that one. And then I got this piece, which I'm going to bring down. So this is going to be where the bow goes. So that's kind of my center point, I'm going to call it. It's my center point. There you go. Get some of that in there. I do want to build out the side though, because where the 2 points meet, if I start coming at it from the other way, I don't want to have any bald spots in here. So I'm going to kind of build some of this out with these extra little onesie pieces I have from how I cut that other stuff. There we go. We're going to have a lot on here, so I'm not too worried about adding anymore. I think we're good. I do want to twist it a little bit. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to start coming in. I'm just taking it and just twisting, just cutting. Cutting one. I'll cut some there, and I'll cut some here. All right, so I got 3 pieces off of that. Here we go. This is a pretty big one, so I'm going to try to use this as kind of my bottom. There. And I wanted to come in underneath that piece just because I think it's going to give me a little extra bracing, right? That's kind of what I want there. Just a little extra bracing. All right. Build out the rest. Maybe I don't need it quite that long. I'd say about a good 3 inches or so. I don't want it to come out the back of the grapevine. That would look kind of weird. That would look sus, as the kids today would say. My daughter would be like, Mom, don't say that. I'm going to come in that way. I can always go back in and add some more later on. I'll look at it from the side and see if I feel like I want to add in more. But again, the more I add, the higher the cost comes up. So we don't necessarily want to do that. Okay? So here we go. This is our center point. Some of the greenery that way, some that way, and a couple that kind of like come over. Right? All right, so I'm going to put that one to the side. We're good with that. I got to sit for a second, guys. Oh my gosh, my back, my back. Oh, all right. So I think the next thing I would like to do right now is probably make my bow, because that's going to kind of determine the placement of other stuff I put on here. So I'm going to bring over my Easy Bows Design Pro. Yes, I use a bow maker. Is there any shame in that? No. And if you say there is, I will fight you. No one's going to say that. All right. I want to make sure there's a lag. So when I do stuff to when I see it over here on the camera, there's a lag. So I want to make sure that this is all in view before I start anything. Here, move this out of the way. There we go. Okay, cool. So I don't want a super deep bow, right? Because this is kind of thinner, but I do want some really nice loops. Now, this ribbon, you can get this at Craft Outlet. Just look for Stars and Stripes, but this has a fused backing on there. It's double-sided, and it's real. Like, look at the wire on this, man. This is a good quality ribbon, right? Like that is good. Check out my loopy. That's no flaccid loops here, no siree. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I want my bow to go? I could put one tail that way and one tail down that way, which I think is probably how I'm going to want to do this, because I want to cover the spot, but I don't want to have anything covering that too much. But I want to bend this up. I don't want to dovetail it. But see, when I bend it, it still has a tendency to come out a little bit. So what I do is I just add just a tiny little bit amount of the hot glue. All right, and I just, here we go. And it'll stay, because if I use too much, it's going to bleed through to the back. Right now, it's not bleeding through, okay? So here we go. All right. So that is, I'd say that is a 12-inch tail after I have cut and folded it up. I'd say you can probably cut this at 10, 12. Cut it at 14, and then you can bend enough up, okay? All right, now I'm going to pinch and twist on the left-hand side. So I am seeing the red stripes, which is the back of the ribbon. I'm going to put that in here. Sorry. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so tired. All right, I'm going to put this in here. Now, I think I do want some larger loops on this, so I'm thinking of maybe doing some 8-inch loops. So I'm gonna see what this looks like first, okay? So I'm just gonna temporarily kind of hold it up. What does this look like? Yeah, I'm liking it. All right. But what I'm gonna do though is, I did kind of want some to come up out of here. So I think what I'm going to do is I've got 2 loops, and I got that 12-inch side. So I'm going to cut a tail going up, all right? So I'm going to cut this at 10 inches, and then I'm going to bend and do what I did before, which was give it a little gloozy, all right? A little bit. And kind of let that stay. So that's going to go up, all right? So now I want to do the same thing, but I want to come at it from the other side. Boy, I love a good, thick, stiff ribbon. This is going to be really pretty, and it's going to hold it very well outside. I just used this in a mailbox swag that I am currently finishing up for Leslie. So I'm very excited about that. Just got a couple more roses to glue on there, and I think that'll be good. So Leslie, I may not get to it tonight, but I will send you pictures tomorrow then of how that's coming along. Okay, I'm going to fold it over again. And it's nice because the stripe kind of gives me a nice little, I can see if things look uneven or not. Like right here, that looks a little uneven. So let me fix that. Okay. And I like to put the glue on the painted white stripe part because it seems to leak through a little bit less if I do that. Okay. All right. So if that was 12 inches, and this is going to come out at 12 inches. All right. Putting this in here. This actually, I think, was 7.5. So I ended up doing 7.5. So I lied. It's 7.5 inches on both. 7.5 pinch. 7.5. All right. Oh my gosh, look at that. I've used up this whole thing. All right. And again, I was going to cut this at about 14. Well, no, this was, hold on a second. This was, so if I cut this, go up, add a little bit more. So I'm going to cut it like right here. So that is basically, yeah, that's 10 inches. All right. All right. I'm going to trim a little bit of this off. There we go. Perfect. All right. I'm going to add a little bit of glue again. Kind of right on there. All right. So now we have some tails coming up. We have some long tails going down. I have this extra little piece, and you know I'm going to hold on to this piece. That is a nice extra piece. I can do something with that for sure. For sure. Okay, so now I'm going to get my 1/2 inch ribbon. All right. And I was thinking I would go the opposite way on this one. So I was going to use this one for the red and white pattern. All right. So let me trim off the wires here. Now I might not do as much of this, so I'm going to bend it up and I'm going to bend it onto the stars. Wait, no, I'm bending the wrong way. Hold on. I'm bending so I see the stars. Okay. Bend and bend. I'm going to add a little dab of glue. A little dab will do ya. What was that? Brill cream? Back in the day, that was their motto. Now I'm not going to do 4 loops of this. I'm just going to do 2. Okay. But then I'm also going to have a tail. So I think what I'm going to do is this is going to be my tail that I'm going to do first. Okay. So I'm going to cut this. Okay. Bend and bend. All right. I'm only going to do 2 loops of that. There we go. And then I usually find something fun to kind of put in the middle. So we'll see what I decide to put in the middle of this one. I haven't decided yet. I've got some Uncle Sam hats. I've got some stars. I think it'd be fun. I could always use just a floral. All right. So now I'm going to go boom and boom again. Okay. Add a little dab of glue. Okay. I'm going to go on this side now. All right. Pinch and twist. Loop. Now this one I'm just going to have at 6 inches. Pinch and twist. Another loop. Coming out, so that was 6, so this has to come out to 6. Perfect. Come up this way. All right, bend it over. Bend over. Here we go. And add a little glue. All right, there we go. Now, normally, I could use just a chenille stem to come in here and kind of make that make that how I did it. But because this is so thick, I mean, this is super, super thick ribbon, I'm going to want to just come in with a zip tie. Use a nice white zip tie, and then I'm going to put a black pipe cleaner behind it. That's what I'm going to feed through here to get this up there. So I'm going to pull all this up. And if it's easier for you guys to make it by hand, or you want to make a different kind of bow, feel free. I'm just experimenting kind of with different things. I like to experiment. Like not in that way. Well, I don't know. I guess it depends what kind of substance it is. My experimentation usually comes in the form of food. There we go. All right, I'm just going to tighten this real nice and tight. The tighter you make it, the more your lips pop, baby. It's like the tighter I zip up my pants, the more my muffin top flies over the top of my jeans. All right, giving it a nice twist once. So let's bring these tails down, curl this down, curl this down. These I'm going to pinch together and then separate because we want to try to cover the fact that there is a zip tie there, okay? All right, so we're going to go like this. So let me move my Easy Bow Maker off to the side. All right, and then let's bring our wreath closer. Now I want to make sure you guys can see this okay. I can move you guys back if it ends up being too close. How I see it on my phone here when I go to set this up is not how you guys end up seeing it on Facebook. Kind of weird, huh? Yep, it is. All right. So I want to make sure my tails are going to come down this way. I want them to go that way. So I'm going to feed these through. Up at the top, down at the bottom. You guys can see my roots again. Hello. All right. I'm going to pull this nice and tight. I'm going to wrap the chenille stem around itself. I'm going to trim it to make it even, okay? So I've got about a good maybe 3 inches in there. And then I like to poke it back into the grapevine. I don't cut it super, super short because I may end up deciding to have to use this bow. You never know. All right? So let's move this here. Let's start playing with our tails. And I could always decide to trim these and go smaller on the tails, but I think once I get some stuff behind here, they're going to be nice and fluffy. Nice and fluffy. Alright, so what I wanted is kind of like this whole rounded shape coming out. I like that. Alright, so you can still tell it's a star, but we're not really covering it too much, right? I want to alternate these two because I want to see stars and the stripes, and stars and the stripes, okay? And these, it's very important to get those to kind of curve backward, but once I get some stuff behind there, they'll pop up. And I can even shorten those if I want to. I probably should have gone a little bit shorter. All right, now I'm going to work the wire. I'm going to straighten this out. Sometimes in the wired ribbon, you can kind of see like little waves and stuff with the ribbon. So if you just pull that wire, it's going to do a natural curve. All right. Kind of liking this. I am. Roll that in. I can't even roll that in, or maybe I can even roll that forward. No, I don't want to roll forward. Backwards better. Backwards better. Okay. All right, so now we have our florals. All right. Oops. I just lost myself on the live, guys. Hold on a second. I'm a dork. Here we go. Now I can see comments. Emily, hello. Good morning, Emily, wherever you are. Hello. Renee, hello. I told you I was going live, girl. Oh, Renee is my bestie. We've been besties since we were like 5. We literally go back to kindergarten together. Okay, so I'm going to just pull these apart. Now, ideally, I don't want to have to use my pick machine because it's heavy as hell. So I don't want to have to do that. But these came as sets of 3. So I do have more I can use. Okay, I save these. And then I go to clean it out underneath my desk, and I'm like, why did I save so many? I don't know. I hoard. All right. So I'm going to start with this. So this is, there's 3 in a bush. Right now I have 2 bushes worth here, but I have more behind me. I could order more, but I kind of am trying to keep this minimal because, like I said, I'm trying to do multiples without having to place another order. So I'm trying to keep to 3 of these per side. All right, so this is really nice and full, so I think I'm going to try to use this toward the end here. All right, so I'm going to snip this just a little bit. Okay. Oh, God. When did I get so weak? All right. Fluff it out. That's the key. Fluff everything, right? You don't want to just put it on there right as it comes, because the more room this can take up here, the nicer and fuller it's going to look up there. So I'm just going to add my glue. Add my glue. I will not burn myself. Yes, you will. You always do. All right, I'm pushing it in here. All right. I could go in a little further. Yeah, a little bit further. There we go. Because I want to be able to see the tips of these stars up and down, right? All right, so I got one in there. Now the next one is kind of a white one, so I'm going to kind of go more like down into here with it, and then bring the red, white, and blue. And I do have roses that I'm going to use too. So those are from Hobby Lobby. And I just checked, and it looks like they have a different SKU number than the batch I have, but I think I bought my batch like last year. There we go. I like that there. So this is still available to get from Hobby Lobby. Right? Now this is, I'm going to trim this nice and even. And I like, so far, I have not had to use my pick machine, which I'm very, very grateful for. Because it never fails. Every time I go to use that machine, I suddenly realize I'm out of picks, and you guys got to watch me put that stuff in the machine. And it doesn't usually go well for me. Okay. There we go. So that's 3. I'm kind of feeling like I'm going to have to use more because there's going to be some empty spot there. So let's go do the other one, and then I'll decide. So I'll go up from the bottom now, and then I'll decide if I have to go use another one of these. Okay. This one is super pretty. I'll use this one down at the bottom. All right. Make sure my florals are on the top. Adding my glue. This actually hasn't really taken that long to do, surprisingly. Ah, get in there. That leaf moved, so I can't see what I was doing. What was I doing? There we go. I like that. Now the white one, we had kind of gone in the inside a little bit here, so maybe I'll try to kind of use this on the outside a little bit here, right? Kind of come in there and see if that can take the place of us having to put in more of this, because like I said, I'm trying really hard to keep the budget lower on these. There we go. I think that looks good. Once I get some roses and stuff in there, it's going to look good. Okay, so here's the last one I'm going to do. And I'm going to try to separate this out, so make this as wide as I can. So if I pull this one out a little bit, I can put this one in more a little bit, but then that looks naked there. So if I move this in more, then I can try to put this on the outside, and I think that's probably the better option for this. So I'm going to cut a little bit off. Oh, eek! Oh. There we go. I'm going to go check back comments in a minute. All right, here we go. So let's go here. half the time when you're working with grapevines, you never really know where you're putting it in. It's just going in blind. And I don't like that spot. It's too low. I want to move it up a little bit. Okay. Just going to be very careful not to get any glue on the ribbons, because that's a no-no. We don't want to do that. So let's get this in here. All right, looking good. Looking good. Mama like. Mama like. Still not liking that too much yet. There we go. I need a little bit down there. That looks a little better. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm liking that. All right. Now I have some roses. So these are from Hobby Lobby. The old SKU number was W045964. I forgot to copy down what the new one is. My apologies. But they got it. They got it. I saw it and I checked online. And it was, I think, $5.99. It's marked $9.99, but I think it's on the floral sale right now. So I know where I'm headed later this week. All right, so I'm going to start filling in just some individual roses. All right. Let me just cut a bunch all at once. Now I push up all the leaves because it came with it. Why wouldn't I want to use it? That helps make it look more filled in as well. All right. I'm just going to cut them all kind of the same length, and then I can trim it down after I get it off the bush. All right. So I'm going to go with the red. I think I'm going to go with the red. Here we go. Let's go right between here. Good. I like that. I feel like these are too long. Oh, I know. What did I just do? What did I just do? Well, we just trimmed it. That's all. Just a little trim. Maybe a little bit less. Here we go. Fold this under. And then fold that. There we go. All right, cool. So I'm just going to go like that. All right. There. Yeah, I like that better. I like that a lot better. Then I can bring this up. And it's going to, oh my gosh, so much better, so much better, so much better. All right, I'm going to do the same I did with this. Okay. So I'd say cut these maybe at like 8.5, 9 instead of 10. All right. A little gloozy woozy for my floozy. All right, come on. All right. Now these can kind of bend. Yeah, but this has to go this way. Ugh, glue snot. Ooh, yuck. Ugh. Nasty, nasty. All right. There we go. Okay, so let's keep adding in some more florals. Thank you for being patient while I fix that. You know, sometimes this stuff just drives you nuts and like you have to fix it. That was the situation for me. I had to fix it. I had to. Okay. This white one. There we go. And then you can bend it so it kind of comes out at you a little bit. We don't want it facing that way, so we can, it's wired. We can just bend it a little bit toward us. And this is actually really making these florals go far. I'm really liking this. All right. Okay. So the other one I have to come up with whites. I have a blue. Let's, come on, give it attention. There you go. There you go. Very pretty. There we go. Okay. Got a blue one here. I want to be able to see it kind of peeking out right here. go. Bend it a little bit. Nice. Actually, maybe could have come out a little bit. There we go. I brought it out just a little bit more. You guys can see that. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that literally all you're seeing right now is the back of my head. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank gosh I'm going to get my hair done with Lindsay tomorrow. I haven't had my roots touched up since before Kaylee's wedding. So it is time, girlfriend Linda. It is more than time. All right. I'm going to go grab my other bush of these roses because I've got a couple white ones on here that I want to trim off because I have a white one here. I want to make sure I get at least one other white one. So I'll grab that off of that bush. All right. Oh, here I have a white one there. I don't know what I was doing. All right. Trimming. Get some reds. And I like these blues because these are navy. That's why I like these. It's got a little more of the brighter blue, but then it's got the navy blue because this is navy, this is navy. This is a little brighter, but that's okay. We don't see it too much. All right, I'm going to take this red one and come down to the bottom. Okay. And finagle that in. Bend it a little bit. Bring it up a little bit. There we go. Very nice. Grabbing another glue stick. I use Gorilla Glue Stick. I don't trust my wreaths to anyone else. That's who I gotta use, man. That's who I gotta use. That's to be the gorilla. Alright. Now I'm gonna put in a blue. And come in up here. Go up a little bit. Come on, go up, go up, go up, go up. I'm also keeping my hand behind here because I don't want to see it coming through. If I feel anything coming through, I can always go in and hit it. I'm going to hit it with a little bit more glue. Okay. Right where I had it going in. All right. And then I'm going to come around. If it's poking out, like that one's poking out, I'm just going to give it a little snip, snip. Because we don't want to have anything that could potentially scratch somebody's door. So we're going to snip that. And then I also do want to add a little bit of glue on that end just to kind of make sure that that's not sharp. So it's just got a little glued end over that. All right. Let's see what we're going to add. We need some more white. So I had some white here. Let's add some white here, but I think maybe kind of going in, kind of in there might be good. Actually, you know what? I have a smaller one. Let me try that. I have a white one I already cut where it was probably about a 6-inch stem. Okay. That one's in there good. Got some red. I feel like I need some red. A little bit more red right in there. All right. Not too much more. I don't want this to be overdone. All right, so I'm not going to go too cray-cray. I like that. It's going to come up a little bit and it's going to follow that arch, right? It's going to all following that arched feeling here. I definitely feel like I need some more right here. I want to add a white right there. All right, and bend it just a little bit toward me. There we go. There we go. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I'm going to bring this up. Bend it up. These are really wonderful. I didn't have to put a lot of greenery in here, honestly. I think it turned out really, really cute. Let's see where else. Ooh, this piece of greenery is kind of sticking out, so let me see where I can move that to. There we go. Kind of go behind there. I feel like I need a little something coming right in here. See that right in there? Got a lot of blue already, so I think maybe I might go grab another. I might grab a red, I think. All right. All right. And red. I'm going this way. There. Try to move that out of the way. Now I see a stray piece of grapevine here. It was just a little squiggly that was going across the tip of the star. So I really want to be able to kind of not have anything in front of the tip of that star. So that's why I'm going to do that. All right. I think I might be done with this, except for I said I want to do something in the middle. So stay there. I forgot to go grab it ahead of time. So let's see what we're going to put in the middle of this. I think, honestly, it might just be this. I have lots of these little stars. So I can either put a rose in the middle, which is pretty, or I can put, that's okay. That answered my question. This is too stiff for me to be able to work that in there to have it stay well. So I'm going to actually end up going with a bloom in the middle. And I think I'm going to go with a red. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these red blooms off. And I'm just going to add some glue. Now I'm going to go and see right over the tip here. I can just slide it right in. All right. And then add some glue in here. It's going to catch the leaves that are on that. So we've got our bloom. I like that. I really didn't, I know this has some glitter in here, but I really didn't want to add a whole lot of glitter in here. All right. So I'd say I probably used maybe a whole bush, maybe a bush and a quarter of the rose bushes. I used 2 of those, the long mixed greenery stems that came from, I think it was General Wholesale. So here we go. Here is our finished beauty. I think this is really pretty. I would say in terms of how tall this is probably maybe 5 inches deep. Let's take a look. I'm going to take her off of here. Yeah, it's probably about 5 inches deep, which is not bad at all. All right. We used this grapevine shape. We used floral wire to attach it onto the grapevine down here, and at the point of the star. This is on here. This ain't going anywhere. If I wanted to, I could add some more over here, but I think it's on there pretty good. I don't feel like I need to. And then it would be a lot more visible if I added it out here. So I don't need to do that. We have 2 types of ribbon in here. Now this is really pretty. You can get this at Craft Outlet. This is double-sided. It's fused backing ribbon. So we used the same pattern, but then on the 1.5 inch version, we flipped it. So we went with the stars instead of the stripes. We bent it all over, and then we just, instead of dovetailing the edges, we glued those. You can fold them, but it didn't feel like it was going to stay folded for me. So that's why I wanted to do that. And now I'm trying to really kind of curl these in a little bit. I'm going to play with the tails. There we go. Curl these under a little bit. So that when we let it out, it's going to keep its nice curl. All right, this is a nice stiff ribbon. Like this is really going to keep its shape. Sorry, I see glue strings from when we were messing around with it before. All right, and then on the bow, just kind of make sure, star stripes. That's how we're going to do it. So here is our finished item. Now this one is one I'm going to list as a multiple in my store, and I will see if that actually does anything for me. I really, really hope it does. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is going to be backed up to my YouTube channel, so you can follow me over on YouTube. Facebook ends up kicking these videos off after 30 days, but everything I've got is most everything, unless it turned out horribly, like with interference or bad video. That's over on YouTube. You can follow me on the Taki Tiki, wink wink, on the Instagram, and you can shop my items at sweetariadecor.com. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you guys have a great night and have a good weekend. All right? Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can follow me all over social media, and you can shop my store at sweetariadecor.com.